is the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Mulvaney.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Stumpf from over here. I don't know. I can't tell you how disappointed I am to even have to be here today as one of the many members of this committee who every single day in here defend the banking system, defend capitalism, defend free markets. To sit here and have to watch you essentially validate everything that the other side has said about you and your business and your industry, I don't know, for the last 3 or 4 generations, is extraordinarily disappointing to me. The damage that you have done to the market, to your industry, far exceed the damage that you've done to your own business. But again, there's nothing I can do about that. I want to ask you, I think, just one question. I know a little bit about business, not nearly as much as you do. What little I do know, I didn't learn from college or business school. I learned from my dad, who was actually raised very similar to you. He was from Minnesota, born to a lower middle class family, went to Winona, went on to the university, a little bit older than you, but not much. And I remember him telling me one time when I was first getting into business, he said, you know what, you can learn a lot about an enterprise, about an organization, by looking at the leader, and that the organization will take on the personality of the leader or the owner or the person in charge. And if you walk into a lobby and you're received nicely by the young man who's sitting there answering phones, it's probably a really good indication that the lady that owns the place is a really good person. Conversely, if you walk in and you get treated like crap and with disdain, it probably says a lot about the people at the top of the chain. I happen to think that the folks that work with me in my office reflect that. You come to my office, you get treated well, because that's important to me. The place that you ran, Mr. Stumpf, and I don't know that much about Wells. I knew a little bit about Covey and Wells, First Union, because of where I grew up. I mean, y'all were rotten. We've heard some stories today that everybody's heard about. I'm sitting here looking at the story from 2009 about the lawsuit that got filed. It says, Wells Fargo, Ms. Jacobson said in interviews in the New York Times, saw the black community as fertile ground for subprime mortgages, as working class blacks were hungry to be part of the nation's homegrowing mania. Loan officer, she said, in an affidavit, stated that employees referred to blacks as mud people and to subprime lending as ghetto loans. I can't tell you how hard it is for me to even say that. Y'all targeted black churches. I'm not going to defend that. That doesn't even deserve defense. I'm going to ask you one question. Does this organization reflect you?
Well, I am deeply sorry, and I read that article you just said, and that has no place in our culture, no place in what we've done, and we are today the largest lender to low and moderate income people on housing. We make more loans to African Americans, Latinos, persons of color, and we're proud of that. And that place and that kind of language and that kind of behavior is not who I am. I've learned my life lessons also from my parents. My dad is 94, and he's still a wonderful guy and is still a big influence in my life, and so is my mother. And I try to lead with courage and conviction. Our company is based on those values of ethics, of doing what's right, and the company, of course, we've made mistakes. Not everybody lives up to our vision and values, but the vision and values our 268,000 people aspire to and do every day is consistent with what I want to live my life and what our culture is of our company.
Thank you, Mr. Stumpf. I appreciate that. For the minute I have left, I want to say something to my Democrat colleagues. Well, I know we'll see this, and believe me, if the roles were reversed, I might see this as an opportunity to try and push a political initiative, a political agenda, to bang the drums for more heavy regulation. Everything that we're talking about here today, including what I just read, which I won't read again, happened since CFPB and Dodd-Frank. It happened after we supposedly fixed all of this with regulation. And maybe I would suggest this. You can't fully regulate bad actors. I'm not here in a position to say if Mr. Stumpf is a bad person or not. That's not up to me. I'm not trying not to be in the position of judging other people. That's for his board. I know how I would vote if I were on the board. In fact, he wouldn't even be here if I were on the board of that company. But you're never going to be able to fully regulate bad actors, and I hope we look at this with a certain level-headedness as we move forward.